Hey everybody, church. Stan Mitchell will be back with us next Sunday, but today is Mother's Day, so we wanted to do something special. We're sharing a conversation that Ray Waters had with Sara Cunningham, founder of Free Mom Hugs. It's a fun conversation, so let's get to it. Happy Mother's Day. Let's have church.
I am so excited about our special guest. Sara Cunningham is not only the proud, loving mom of a gay son, but she has become a leading voice for faith parents of LGBTQ children. Sara's the founder and executive director of Free Mom Hugs, which is a group of affirming parents who love their kids unconditionally and take those hugs of love and acceptance to others. For some, those hugs can be the difference, and you know this, these hugs can be the difference between life and death. Sara's a moving speaker. She is a powerful advocate and ally, and she's the author of a great book called How We Sleep at Night, which is an intimate, raw, challenging, and emotional memoir of her personal journey regarding her son's homosexuality. As dynamic as Sara's story is, and it's dynamic, she did not get where she is today in a day. In fact, when her son Parker told her he was gay, it rocked her world just a little bit. We are honored today to hear her story. Would you welcome with me, Sara Cunningham?
News that hits home. A mother in Oklahoma has started a movement about love and inclusion with a simple Facebook post.
But one woman in Oklahoma is trying to change that by offering to be a stand-in mom for anyone who needs one.
And that's where Sara Cunningham steps in. In a post on Facebook, she offered herself up saying, quote, if you need a mom to attend your same-sex wedding because your biological mom won't,
call me. I'm there. I'll be your biggest fan. I'll even bring the bubbles.
Thank you, Neil.
I'm so happy.
Thank you.
Now,
I'm on.
you're on.
I'm hot. Hot mic.
Some of y'all know the story really well. Some of you don't. So I just want to get into the backstory, okay, before we get to where you are today. You're married to Rex.
Silver Fox, yes.
Silver Fox, he is handsome. If you haven't seen him on Facebook, he is a good-looking guy. And y'all been married how long?
Over 30 years.
Over 30 years. You live in Oklahoma City, and you are the proud mom of two sons. And tell me, Travis is 30, 31?
I don't know how.
You don't know, and Parker's a couple of years younger. That's
Yes.
all right. That's all right. Now, you and your family were typical American, middle-class Americans, Oklahoma City, and you were raising your family in church. Just tell me a little bit about life in the 80s, early 90s, I guess.
Well, yes, all of that. We have two children, Travis and Parker. They're about 4 years apart. My husband and I, we grew up together. I was best friends with his sister. We grew up together. He liked me. No, actually, I liked him first.
Right.
And he didn't like me until he saw me in a two-piece bathing suit.
I understand.
Is this G-rated or R-rated?
It's
How
R-rated.
are we
You can
going?
go.
Okay.
You go.
So, and he got his own place, and I got pregnant.
Right.
And 9 months later, we got married.
Right.
But we honored the commitment that we made to each other.
Right.
And we're celebrating in September of this year. It's our 33rd or 34th year. I'm terrible
awesome.
at
That's
numbers,
awesome.
but thank you.
That's
But
awesome.
he's a good man. He's a good man. He's a wonderful father. He's a saint, and I do call him my silver fox.
Right.
We bought a house together. We raised our children. We live in our same home. We raised our children inner city, Oklahoma City, born and raised in Oklahoma City. Did that answer your question?
It did. It did.
I'm
So
nervous,
Travis,
y'all.
it's all right. I told her, I said, pretend like I'm Oprah and this is just a conversation. So that'll be a.
All right.
So Travis comes along and he's wonderful, and Parker comes along and he's wonderful. At some point, did you begin to realize that perhaps Parker was gay as a young child? Did you see it at all?
There were moments. For example, in the book I write about, we had friends over. And am I supposed to look at you, Ray, or do I look at the audience?
You know what? Both is good.
Okay.
It's both is good.
So we had company over at the house. We have a 2-story home. We were in the adults were at the kitchen table solving the world's problems, and the kids are upstairs playing. And Parker came downstairs. He was about 5 years old. He came racing downstairs in one of my dresses my heels, and he danced in the kitchen until his hair was wet with sweat. I mean, he was so thrilled to be prancing
Fully
and
alive,
dancing around.
fully alive,
Yes,
yeah.
that was my first aha moment. Like,
Right. Right.
And,
And didn't they choose different toys too?
yeah, they were like night and day.
So Travis would be more Mutant Ninja Turtle kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and Parker was
My Little Pony,
Yeah.
anything with glitter.
He
It was
liked
always
glitter.
a compromise when shopping.
right.
You know, he didn't. He just gravitated more towards the more feminine things.
So as Parker grows into a teenager, he knows early on that he's different. How early do you think he knew? I think I'm gay.
You know, I just thought it was a difference between their personalities, so I really didn't think that much of it because they were completely different.
Right.
They had the same haircuts. You know, that's only the similarity that they had growing up. But I think that for me, and I don't want to speak for Parker, but he's not here, so, but I think when children started treating him different at school is when he was made aware that
Okay.
I'm not like the other boys.
And I have talked to many of my LGBT friends, and they say the same thing. They say that's when they could tell things were different. They were just a little different. And so you're seeing this, but you're also going to church. You're like youth leader. You guys
I'm
are
helping with
you're
the
going
youth,
to
we're
mission
plugged in.
trips. Everybody's coming to your house for the big parties. It's a big, wonderful family life. But you just know in the back of your mind something maybe is a little different. Now, when he came out to you fully, he's 21. When did you begin to research, go to Barnes & Noble, and try to understand some of LGBT stuff?
That time, because up until that time, Ray, you have to remember, we raised Parker in the church. We started going to church when our oldest son Travis was about 4 or 5. He was invited to Vacation Bible School, and you know they have a family night where they show you what all the children have done during the week. And we got plugged in, and we were there every time the church doors were open.
Yeah.
I love church life. I love fellowship. I love participating and serving in a community. And our church was inner city church, so it's the hub of the neighborhood. Voting is there. The basement served as a tornado shelter in severe weather. It was a hub of activity. If we weren't home, we were there. And Parker and I love the scripture. We both knew what was taught to us. And so we both really prayed the gay away for many years.
So y'all have heard that we need to pray the gay away, and so you guys are active doing it. You're committed to that. You think that you're going to pray, and Parker's going to change, and he's not going to be gay.
Yeah, I was praying for any holy bolt of lightning to make him normal.
Right. And I know this pains you. I can tell it even pains you when you think about it now. But you're being honest. This was where you were. This was, and I know a lot of parents have been in the same place. You wrote in the book, you were clinging to your faith, and your faith was killing you because you loved your son. You're trying to wrestle with what to do. You're also worried about your son because of Matthew Shepard's stories and other stories. You think that he could possibly be picked on or abused or a victim.
Yeah, the Matthew Shepard, in fact, his 20-year anniversary is it today?
I think so,
And
yeah.
the Matthew Shepard story is every mother with a gay child's worst nightmare. And Parker growing up, and he does share this when he's able to share that he had, the examples in his life were Liberace, Elton John, and Matthew Shepard. So who do you think that he related to the most as
Matthew
a young
Shepard.
man?
Yeah.
And we have a gay strip in our neighborhood. I mean, where I could walk there from where we live. And many people have geared at the term the gayborhood. That's their words, not mine, but it's a beautiful little area which I love, and it's very dear to me, and I really am working hard to have it recognized and celebrated as an important part of our city. But it's a place that I would pray that he would never, I would beg Parker when he became of age to go there. There's bars, you know, and when he became of age to go to this gay area, I would beg him not to go alone because I knew there was either a hate crime or an orgy waiting to happen. That's where my mentality was.
Right.
I was just frozen in that fear and ignorance.
So like so many parents, you're wrestling with your faith, which says I shouldn't accept a gay orientation, and your son And at the time when children need their parents the most, so many parents end up coming down on, this is what I believe, therefore I'm going to withhold love. When he was 21, what did he say to you? Because I thought this was strong,
It was
strong.
a pivotal moment in our life. When Parker turned 21, and now remember, he spent his whole life coming out to us, but I was not having it. But when Parker turned 21, he said, Mom, I met someone and I really need you to be okay about it. And that's the day that he faced his biggest fear. That's me. Right. And that's the day that I had to face reality that my son is gay. And it changed everything. There was no more praying that gay away. There was no more trying to control the situation or the outcome. And that's when I started searching, and I didn't know where to look for resources. I wrestled with my faith between the law and grace. And oftentimes we hear from our peers within our church family is love the sinner, hate the sin. By the way, that's the worst thing you can say.
That's the worst thing to say.
The worst. And
because
it just killed me.
Their orientation is not sin. Their orientation is nothing to do with sin. They are beautiful, beautiful people. I hear it all the time, and even churches think we're doing well by saying, hey, y'all come, and sure, you're gay, but listen, I'm a sinner, I'm overweight, and so if I'm obese and you're gay, it's like, their gayness is a beautiful thing. They did not ask for it. It is a beautiful gift from God, and we celebrate it. But sometimes in churches, we say things that we don't need to. We hurt.
Even equating, like I have many well-intended friends who say, well, it's no different than, gambling or gluttony. And at one time, just in my learning, I thought, well, and I really tried to reason with that, but it never set well. But now I don't believe that. I don't believe at all that homosexuality is a sin. It's to be celebrated. It's a beautiful dynamic it's a gift that's to be celebrated, but it's all a process, because I'm sure I said those things.
And guys, most from evangelical church background, they haven't gotten there yet. And we like to think they're going to get there soon, but it may not be soon. It takes sometimes a long time for people to get there. But I am telling you, God is pulling us in that direction. And I'm telling you, they will get there. It just may not be in the next 10 years, I don't know. And churches like this, and a few churches around, are a little ahead of the curve. And so, just so you know, you have been such an inspiration to those of us around, because so you say, doggone it, I love this boy, he is my son, and I'm going to figure this out, but I am not sacrificing my love for him. And you begin to see more clearly, and you suddenly become the founder of Free Mom Hugs. Tell us about that, because this excites me, what you did.
Thank you. It is exciting. Well, remember Parker said, I met someone, I needed you to be okay about it. I started searching the matter out. But during that time, it was very important. I needed to hear from someone who shared my faith that it's all right to search this matter out. I wasn't interested at that time what PFLAG had to say, because I wanted to be in the world and not of it. Some of you know that language. But now I understand the importance of PFLAG and groups like them, and I highly recommend them.
Tell the group what PFLAG is, please.
Well, at the time when I was trying to figure this out, I thought it meant parents in favor of lesbians and gays. And at that time, I was not in favor of gay anything, right? Now I understand it to be parents and friends of lesbians and gays. And it's a very important, vital group to the community, and very important. And I understand it now, but at the time, I certainly wasn't.
You're just learning, yeah.
I needed to hear from someone who shared my faith, that it's okay. And so in searching the matter out, I did wrestle between my faith and loving my son, and how do I love parts of him and celebrate without loving what he loves. And so the pivotal moments were, I was depressed. I laid up in my bed. It was in the afternoon on a Saturday. I had been just discouraged in my bed. depressed. And Parker came in and he laid down beside me and he said, "Mama, are you going to be okay?" I said, "Yeah, I just got to figure this out." And he said, "I understand that, but I need you to understand, I sucked it up, and I've been your son for 21 years. I need you to suck it up now and be my mom."
Wow.
And that got me out of bed.
Good for Parker. That's a
Yes.
good, I love that.
True story.
That is beautiful.
And those are pivotal moments in
And
my
so
life.
that was a change. You began to change.
I thought,
You met Cole,
Cole, yes.
and Cole is a wonderful young man.
Absolutely, yeah. So that was a pivotal moment, and then finally, I was doing laundry in the laundry room, opposed to doing it in the front yard. I don't know. But I was just pondering things and just thinking, God, I don't know if I can do this.
Right.
And I really felt like the Spirit said, you need to care about what's important to your son. If it's important to him, it needs to be important to you. And at that moment I thought, all right then, let's do this. And that was when I really thought, you know what, I'm gonna do this.
So is this when you began to prepare to go to Pride? Is that?
Yes, we prepared to go to Pride. Again, it's just blocks away from where we live. It's my first interaction with the community. We stood there, my husband and I, with our son Parker, and at the time his boyfriend Cole. And it was my first interaction with a community that I just fell in love with. And I write about it in my book, and the last chapter was inspired by standing on that corner. And that's the most profound experience that I had. I saw a beautiful, spirit-filled community. And I don't want to get too far ahead of your questioning,
Right.
but you ask about free mom hugs.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us about.
That was in 2014. We stood with our son Parker and friends at our Pride Parade. And the next year, I made a homemade button and I pinned it to my sundress. Now, I'm not the first mom to offer free mom hugs at a Pride Parade, but I made a homemade button because I didn't know how to order anything on Amazon.
Right.
Because I'm that
Right.
person. And I had a table because I had the book now.
Right.
And I had resources. I have resources that I'll leave with you here that you can have.
Wonderful.
But anyone that made eye contact with me, I'd say, "Excuse me, can I offer you a free mom hug or a high five?"
Absolutely.
Stand up here. I'm so glad that you're here. And I love you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
And that was it. That was the beginning. And at the end of the day, I went home covered with glitter from head to toe. I still have glitter in that car. But it was a wonderful experience. But I also went home with horror stories about families who've been blown apart by separation and alienation from their church homes, from their families, and from many parts of society. And I was just broken.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
And so the next year, if I could jump ahead,
Please.
some moms, friends, and allies and I, and don't let me lose this point, because when the book comes out, there's another pivotal moment, but I don't want to forget about it, okay? So the next year, some moms, friends, and allies and I got together and we made a banner. Ladies, can I have your help? Just, if you would. And we made the banner, much like this, and we walked with it in the 2016 Oklahoma City Pride Parade. And we had adults and children, or young youth running over the barricades to get hugs. And we had more, am I ringing? Hot mic. We had more social media hits than the concert itself. And I'm not saying that to boast. I'm saying that that was my
Oh, it resonated with
realization,
people.
like, we need to talk about this. We need to have this conversation, because not only did it encourage the community that we love them and we're here with you, we're walking with you, we're fighting for you, we're trying to make our world a safer place for you, but it's also encouraging moms to have authentic relationships with their children. And Folks, I'm just doing something that I wish someone would have done when I was trying to figure things out. So we offer resources to churches, we share at colleges when we can. I'm just doing things that I wish someone would have done when I was trying to figure things out. And these are all things that I just use what I had with people that I'm with, where I'm at. And it's really very simple. Thank you.
Wow.
You did a good job.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Sorry.
You know what amazes me about you? I'm going to get back to the book in a minute, but you're lovely, but you didn't have a grand plan that you were going to be this viral mom and it's going to become a big deal. You're just trying to figure it out. Nobody's around initially to help you, and as you're figuring it out, you're just doing it. And to me, the love that you showed was so tangible and so, it's like, yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. That's what we're supposed to do. But you did it. A lot of people don't do
Well,
it.
thank you.
So tell me about the book, How We Sleep at Night.
Yeah, I wish I'd brought a copy up.
Yeah,
here
it
to show
can
you.
appear here in just a minute. It's a magic. It's magic. It's just kind of think, and it's like.
I know. I wish I had a copy here.
Huh? Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Oh, give it up for our
look
book
here.
deliverer. That's
Thank you,
wonderful.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. You can have a signed copy of the book.
That's awesome.
Just for that.
That's awesome.
My things.
I know that
Getting
the
nervous.
preacher
I'm
here's
tearing
got a
stuff
big
up.
head, and you're wearing his microphone, and it falls off. I'm sorry.
But this is. I don't know. I hope you can see it because Parker designed the cover.
He's a talented.
My whole family, Parker, Travis, they're all just beautifully talented. Travis he works with, he makes things out
Right.
of metal and wood. And,
Yeah, I don't get it at all.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
It's insane.
Though. That's amazing.
But it's How We Sleep at Night, a mother's memoir, and I just wrote it for moms like me. I never intended, it's self-published. I have a 10th grade education. You realize how limited your vocabulary is. It has cuss words.
It does have cuss words, y'all. I read it. It has cuss words.
I put them in and I took them out,
Yeah.
but I said, I just, for lack of a better word, I couldn't find a better word.
Yeah.
But also, what I thought was brilliant, Parker is a singer-songwriter, and I have a friend that helped, edit the book and make sure I spelled everything right. Wonderful people. Thanks, Holly. But I included links to Parker's music,
Yeah.
is what I'm saying.
Very cool.
And the book includes links. So if you're on Kindle, you can click on the link and hear his music.
Rachel.
Miss Rachel, he recorded those songs in his bedroom on his phone. So I know you can make a CD if he can do that in his bedroom. So, but I love his music.
Right.
And at one time I thought I knew what inspired each one until I heard him again after he'd come out, and
So
all of a
then they
sudden
all
they were
mean-
different. Yeah,
They mean something different.
yes.
I can't wait. We're going to have Parker come back with you one day.
I would
we would
love
love
that.
We would love that. Would that
You
y'all
can have him
enjoy
play
that?
songs.
I would love
Play
that.
songs.
We need
Yes.
to make that happen. Now, can we jump to something that's kind of
Yes.
silly? I want to get silly for a minute.
Let's do.
You recently spent a couple of days hanging out with Jamie Lee Curtis, and I want to talk about that, Jamie Lee Curtis. But I heard Jamie Lee Curtis taught you a few things about getting the lighting right when you make
Yes.
a selfie. Can you
Yes.
give us all a little lesson in
Yes.
selfies?
Compliments of Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes.
I call her Jamie Lee. We text back and forth. I got her phone number. But yes, she's very serious. She's a very, she takes very good pictures. And she loves architecture.
Right.
And, but she's the lighting. You have to find the light, a canopy overhead or something over you, and then the light in front of you.
So the light's in front of you, and if you do that, then you become a
Like
really
if
good.
we did
Is
it,
she
it would
shooting
be
the
here.
selfie there? Is she doing that? That's a selfie.
Yep, that's her.
Well, let's get into her story then. How in the world are you hanging out with Jamie Lee Curtis?
I know, it just, the post that went viral with the hand up in the air and...
Tell us all about it. Tell us about that.
Okay, so some people have pegged me the accidental activist, and...
That's a good thing.
Thank you. My husband and I were on vacation one year. Long story short, we were on vacation. We met a beautiful couple, older couple in Virginia Beach, and we became fast friends. And they're a same-sex couple. When marriage equality became legal, we'd been friends for a while. They've seen my activism, and decided that now that they can legally marry, they asked if I would officiate their wedding. And so I got ordained. We officiated their wedding. Where was I going with this, Ray?
You were going to tell us about how it went
how
viral.
this all started, sorry. So I officiated their wedding, wonderful time, and so other couples started hearing, and I've officiated probably 8, 9, or 10 couples, and I just officiated my first straight wedding.
Yeah,
So anyway, it's a thing. So, but spending time with these couples, it's not something that I take flippantly. I mean, I spend time with the couples, I get to know them, I love them, and I'm happy to celebrate this special day with them. But through that, I started hearing about parents who were not acknowledging their relationships or wanting to show up for the ceremony, or uncles who want to wait out in the truck when they have a kiss. It's like, no. And I was really frustrated. It was late at night, I think, and I posted that. And I've used that picture for other things too, but it was posted purely out of frustration.
And what was the post?
If your biological mom won't show up to your same-sex wedding, then call me. I'll be your biggest fan. I'll even bring the bubbles. And it's a photo with my hand up in the air like that. And it was purely out of frustration. Didn't think anything of it. Went to bed. The next morning, I woke up and it's like my phone is like blowing up. It's like, what in the world? I didn't even know what going viral meant. I had to Google it. I still don't even know.
Right.
And
I know there's not a plan. I can tell there's not a plan.
I fly by the seat of my pants.
Yeah.
Ask questions later, and I have beautiful, wonderful people that are organized in my life that kind of just pick up the pieces behind me and pave the way. Thank you, Lord. So out of the blue, I get a private message from Jamie Lee Curtis, and she says, this is going to sound weird, but this is Jamie Lee Curtis. Would you call me? I said, yeah, right after I pray that I'm not getting catfished, I'll call you.
Yeah.
And so I did. I prayed, Lord, please don't let this be a catfish. And then, do you know what a catfish is?
Y'all know what catfish is? That's when somebody has a fake identity and they fool you online. Okay.
Yeah, it's a great show. So I call her.
Right.
And it sounds like her, but I'm still not convinced. And she sends me a picture of what she's doing at that time. But still, anyone can get photos off the internet. So I still didn't quite believe her. But we had a wonderful conversation, but she only knew about the post. She shared with me that she's hardly on social media, but the 3 times she had gone to get on her social media, that picture came up. And she goes, I gotta meet this woman. She said it was the simplest act of love, and she's very intuitive and just the real deal.
Wow.
And she says, I have to meet this woman. She had no idea about the book. She had no idea about Free Mom Hugs, and through sharing that. And she said, I'm going to be in Oklahoma City for another venue. She was speaking. She had a speaking engagement. And she goes, I'd love to meet you and meet your family. And, well, before that conversation, I'm sorry, she read the book. She bought 10 books, gave it to her people. And she goes, Sarah, I want to buy the rights to your book. And we haven't signed anything yet. Nothing's official.
So in her mind, there's a real possibility a movie will be made, and
or something,
and she might play you, and she might play you, and it might be a deal thing. That's awesome. That's awesome. Isn't that great?
We can clap for that. We can clap.
I love that.
We can hoot and holler on that one.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's been a wonderful experience, and she's just so wonderful.
She seems like
and she
she's-
spent some wonderful time with. Wonderful's the word. It's a drinking game now, but she's just genuine. She's a genuine, beautiful human being.
Man.
I'm better to have met her.
Let me ask you this. I know you have been at Prides all over the country. I know you were at Pride in Dallas with Jen. Were you with Jen there?
Jen Hatmaker, we had a podcast together. No, she went to Pride. No, I wasn't there with her.
But you went to Pride in Dallas.
Dallas.
We're going to go. Many of us are going to go to Pride next week. And so we want to do it right. What do you feel are some of the things, just heart things that make Pride really a beautiful thing?
Well, I think the example with, I know you want to give hugs, and the contact, to have a connection, a physical connection with people who've been alienated or just feeling less than is the difference. But just making the human connection and being connected, eye contact, and just telling someone, I'm just so glad that we're here together. I'm glad that we're on this side of the story together, and I love you, and you matter. and go enjoy your friends and have fun. This is your day.
I love that.
That kind of thing.
I love that. We're going to do that. That's what we're going to do.
That's easy peasy.
That is super. Now, in the gay community, I understand there are groups called bears, right?
I'm looking for some.
Right. Well, let me let y'all know. Some of y'all are like, I lost you. You don't know what we're talking about. But bigger guys could be considered bears.
Parker considers himself.
I might be. Am I big enough to be a bear?
I don't know.
Okay, so good. I'm a bear. Whatever. Very cool. So, but these moms are called mama bears. Why?
Well, first of all, these mama bears, they protect their children. They can smell trouble from miles away.
Right.
And we're just tenacious, we're dedicated, we've got skin in the game. We know there's an instant camaraderie. There's some mama bears here today. Would you please stand up or raise your hand or do something?
Yeah. That's awesome. Y'all stand up. Everybody, I want to see y'all. They are awesome. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful.
And can I just take a minute to tell you about mama bears, how we met, or are we that part of the story?
This is your story. I want to hear it.
Well, about the same time that the book came out, Ray, I found a private online Facebook group for moms like me. And we started at that time with 250 moms. My friend Malia, she's here. When she joined, there were 88 moms there. And when I joined, I was shocked that we all had the same story of the alienation and separation that comes from this journey of acceptance. And it's a private online Facebook group full of support and resources. And do you know, to this day, there's over 3,000 moms.
3,000, and this has started relatively recently.
Yes, and let me tell you, we write letters to civic, faith, and business leaders who are trying to sell, teach, or preach anything that are detrimental to our children. We write letters of encouragement to churches who lose everything to become fully affirming. And we make differences. We make a difference from where we're at, with who we're with, and what we've got.
I want to ask you about your passion as it relates to reparative therapy. Tell people about what reparative therapy is and kind of what you're working on.
Reparative therapy, in fact, they just changed the name. They're trying to re-gift that package or repurpose that word. But reparative therapy is a very, it's a shame type of ministry. It's a type of therapy that is subject to, or the LGBTQ community have been subject to.
So this is like, we want you to go to counseling because we're going to change you from being gay to straight. We're going to put you into...
They want to change the community, and they believe that...
and yet all science says that it is the most damaging thing possible. Proven to be damaging.
Harmful.
But churches around the country believe if they can get kids into that, and what it leads to is suicide or alienation at a deeper level than anything.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. And it's outlawed in 11 states currently. In Oklahoma City, it's still sought out. It's still legal, sought out, and paid for. And I'm looking at this beautiful group of young men that we have here because I hear from young men all the time who believe that that's what they need to go through to be normal. And they survive it, but they're haunted, and it's churches like the Village that bring healing, and there's so much work to do. So, but we're collecting stories, we're collecting evidence, and it is my goal in Oklahoma at least to outlaw.
I have a hunch you will accomplish that. I believe it's going to happen.
I'm going to nag it. I thought I would be a lobbyist, but I'm going to nag about it, and it's going to get done.
I believe that. Now, I want to mention something else, and we're winding down, but I want to talk just a minute about affirming and non-affirming churches, because I have seen you kind of bristle and say, this is not affirming, this is going to be hurtful to you. Tell people what this means.
I had to learn the difference between affirming and non-affirming. And first of all, at one time in my life when I believed that Parker was going to hell for being gay, then I needed to stand up and fight for him like my hair is on fire. Well, through searching the matter out, I got educated on what it means to be gay, and I no longer consider it to be a sin at all. It is a beautiful gift of God to be celebrated and recognized. And now I fight for my son and our friends like my hair is on fire.
Right.
And that's what makes the difference. I'm not the first mom to offer free mom hugs. I'm just the first one to do it with her hair on fire. Having said that, I had to learn the difference between affirming and non-affirming. Affirming, it's really simple. Affirming will celebrate the spiritual gifts of the LGBTQ community and recognize same-sex marriage as holy. Non-affirming will limit the spiritual gifts. It won't allow my transgender friends to work in the nursery, for example, and certainly won't recognize same-sex marriage as holy. It's important that we know the difference and where you're putting your tithe and your time and your energy, because we have these mega churches in Oklahoma who are giving a message that they're welcoming, that all are welcome there. And the youth are growing up in their churches and they're falling in love and coming out and devastated when their youth pastor won't marry them or their transgender friend can't work and help in the youth. Do you see the point here?
We talked about that a little bit last week, and in Atlanta's the same way. There are mega churches. They're cool. They're cool churches.
They're doing good things.
They're doing good things, but they hide the fact that the day will come and they won't, if you adopt children, they won't sanction that adoption. They won't dedicate your child, and they won't endorse your wedding. And it is devastating because it was bait and switch.
They don't talk about it.
It's never talked about. They did not know until it hit them, and then it's like, well, then to heck with religion. I don't get this at all.
There's wonderful organizations in place like Church Clarity. They're, in fact,
Great, we talked about that last week.
Yeah,
We talked about that last week.
That's really important. I just wish they would be simple in their verbiage.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, finally, just curious,
Sorry.
how many hugs do you think you've given away over the last few years?
Oh my gosh, Ray. Thousands. Who's counting?
Yeah, who's counting? It's just awesome. It's awesome. Actually, one more thing. I'm straight. Why should I show up at Pride in Atlanta next weekend to hug people? What's in it for me?
Because you have gay friends.
Gay friends? Mm-hmm. I just need to
Yeah,
love
it shows
them.
support, and it sends a message
I agree.
to the straight people who it just sends a message
I agree.
to people who do business with you, and people who your neighbors. It's by showing a public display of affection.
I agree. Anything else you want to say?
Well, thank you, Village Church, for being here, for being a safe place, and for just doing the hard work. And together, we're going to bridge this gap. And things are going to be better in our lifetime.
It is going to be better. She is one of my heroes. Give it up. Sara Cunningham. You are lovely.
Oh, thank you.
Lovely.
Thank you.
All things have passed away. Your love has stayed the same. Your constant grace remains the cornerstone. Things that we thought were dead are breathing in life again. You cause your sun to shine on darkest nights. For all that you've done, we will pour out our love. This will be our You are the one our hearts adore. Jesus, we love